What's going on, guys? MrHurriicane here, and today I have a commentary with my friend, fellow Minnesotan and Minnesota sports fan, Nadasfan.
What's going on, guys?
And today we have some gameplay here. We played Vikings versus Vikings on PlayStation 3 Madden 12 Online. I am the Vikings in all purple, and Nadasfan is the Vikings in all white. And so we did a showdown with our favorite team against our favorite team because we don't get to see them win very often, so it's a win-win situation here. And so today, we're pretty much be talking about the state of the Minnesota Vikings and maybe even get into some more Minnesota sports. And so, what do we have to start it off?
Well, it's been a pretty depressing year, but since we're playing the Vikings versus Vikings right here in front of everybody, we might as well lead off with those Minnesota Vikings, I would say.
All right. Well, I have the stats on my screen right now, and everybody probably remembers if they watched football for a few years that people used to say you had to stop the run and you had to be able to run the ball if you wanted to be successful. Well, that is obviously not the case because Minnesota has the 4th ranked rushing offense and the 12th ranked rushing defense, whereas their passing offense is 28th and pass defense is 29th. And now this is not something new to us Minnesota sports fans. How long has this secondary been in infamy and just struggled to cover top receivers? I feel like star players get that status of being a star player because of teams like the Vikings that make them look that way. Calvin Johnson, Dwayne Bowe, guys have had big games this year, big name players, and we don't have a guy that can match up on them, especially with Chris Cook out with his felony charge, whatever's going on there. I don't really pay any attention to it because he's not on the field, so kind of seeing at what's going to be looking forward, and that's really the NFL draft for a 3-12 team.
Yeah, I think if you look at the NFC North as a whole, is a very good indicator of what's wrong with the Vikings. I mean, every team in this division has taken a step up at the quarterback spot. I mean, you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, you're looking at Stafford, you're looking at Cutler when he's healthy, and all these guys are able to torch a secondary like this team. You know, if we're not going to improve, it's going to be just a long period for the Vikings until they can improve on that side of the ball.
A lot of it is a scheme because we have the same scheme for a number of years now with Leslie Frazier as defensive coordinator and now as the head coach. It's the Tampa 2 defense. It's what Leslie Frazier learned under Tony Dungy, and obviously it worked for the Buccaneers a few years ago when they won the Super Bowl, but obviously a lot of things have changed since then, and we don't exactly have the right personnel to run this type of defense. I mean, we do have a pretty good front four. I don't think Kevin Williams has had the best year of his career, but Jared Allen has definitely had impressive numbers this season. And what I think the most important positions other than defensive line are your 2 safeties and your middle linebacker. And we have a 6th-round rookie starting at safety, and then we also have Jamarcus Sanford, who's been inconsistent, and it's just been a mess at safety. And like when the Buccaneers were good, they had John Lynch. We don't have anybody near a John Lynch. And then our middle linebacker is E.J. Henderson. And in a zone defense, you need speed, and he has none. He's an excellent run stopper, but he's not very good against the pass at all.
Well, it's amazing to see E.J. Henderson on the field at all after that horrific injury a year ago, and just to see him back is quite amazing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This team, when healthy, has issues lining up with offenses. But with all the injuries we've sustained this year, has just made this even more of a glaring problem for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why we have to pick the blueprint from the Packers. They showed everybody how to do it. New England Patriots do it this way. Build your team through the draft. Obviously, with young talent, learning your system, your way from the beginning is the best way to go about it. And also on your payroll, because in the NFL there is a salary cap. And now, would you rather draft some guy that is eventually going to be great and you sign him to a deal, or you pick up a guy who's already a veteran, already has that status, and you're paying him a lot of money from the very beginning? Our top players at the moment, we have Adrian Peterson. He's a homegrown talent along with it. Percy Harvin, but Jared Allen, we picked him up off of free agency along with Steve Hutchinson. And that also gives you less time with those players. Obviously, Steve Hutchinson, probably near the end of his career, might play for 1 or 2 more seasons, but he's only like a serviceable guard at best right now, and nowhere near top form.
Yeah, he's definitely in the twilight of his career. I think the Vikings, to me, are kind of a outlier when it comes to Minnesota sports, because you look at the Twins, you look at all the other teams, and they really depend on building through the system. The Twins very much give those that have come up through the system their first chance. They do not make a big splash in the free agency, and Ziggy Wilf has changed that a little bit with the Vikings. Obviously, with Jared Allen being the first, there's been some hits and misses. Berrien didn't work out. Jared Allen was a good one. And, the jury's out, I guess, 50-50 on Favre. There's no denying that Brett Favre was lights out the first year here. But the second year might have been the turning point, obviously, in his career. But very much of a departure where they went free agent-wise with the Vikings.
Yeah, and you look at the Timberwolves, they're 0-3 at this point right now in the season, but they've been a lot more fun to watch. They have a lot of young talent with Kevin Love, Michael Beasley, Ricky Rubio, and Derek Williams. And, they're phasing, Rubio into the starting role. He's not a starter yet, 3 games into his NBA career. Just talking about some Timberwolves basketball a little bit because they have a chance to win some more games than the Vikings this year, I hope. And
the thing with the Timberwolves, too, that 0-3 start's a little misleading. Yeah, they had a clunker in Milwaukee, but the 2 home games were, like you said, they were fun. They were fun to watch. They were in them, and they're playing top-flight competition right now. I mean, that was the Heat out there tonight. They lost to by 2 points, and then the same thing. They took Oklahoma City down to the wire, and this Rubio kid is going to be fun because he's got that vision like nobody else out there, and tonight he pulled out the double-double. He had 12 points and 12 assists, so, I mean, I think we definitely have something to look forward to with him as he gets more comfortable in that lineup.
But the Vikings are always the team that's been closest to my heart, and I love this team. But 3-12, gotta look forward now at something better than we have right now. And NFL draft right now slotted for the number 3 pick, but with a win in Chicago, it could drop to the 4th, 5th, or 6th selection. Now, the 3rd selection, many experts would believe that they might trade that pick to somebody who wants Robert Griffin, and the draft stock, the trade value of that pick looks like about 2 first-round draft picks, which would be pretty huge. A first round this year trading down, and then one next year as well. I think the Vikings' best option, honestly, if you can't get Matt Khalil, you trade down and you snag Morris Claiborne or Dre Kirkpatrick, a cornerback or something. In the first round, you get mainly 3 big needs. That's offensive line, and then the defensive backs and wide receiver. And wide receiver is not one of those things I think we need to address in the first round because we have a lot of other issues, especially at offensive line.
This team needs quantity as well as quality in the draft. They need to address a lot of issues.
And you want to make sure you can actually get some decent picks out of those last round selections. Like, I see a lot of guys that get picked in the 6th or 7th round. Look at KJ Wright out in Seattle. He took Aaron Curry's job, and he's doing a great job with that Seattle defense. I mean,
exactly.
This front office we have has been so hit or miss. It's been one end of the spectrum or the other. It's been Adrian Peterson, Percy Harvin, the 1 year with Brett Favre, Jared Allen, and Steve Hutchinson. But then you look at trading down last year to get Chris Cook, Tyrell Johnson in the 2nd round that hasn't panned out yet. He has in my franchise though. And just things like that. Donovan McNabb, that didn't work at all. This will actually get us off the path of getting these veteran quarterbacks in to start, obviously, with Ponder hopefully being the future and not really taking into consideration too much of all his stats because he is a rookie. But that we did see what he could be in his first game as a starter against Green Bay, and that's kind of the standard we've all held him to since then because that was in my opinion, his best game.
I think by far that was his best game, and I think people are way too quick to elevate him to the status that he's arrived. Those same people have to kind of look back and say, hey, this is a rookie. He's going to have some growing pains and go through some things as he develops.
I mean, look at this defensive line, or this offensive line. I mean Charlie Johnson, left tackle. He's probably a much better guard than he is a tackle. And you look at receivers. Sure, you have Percy Harvin, but teams can cover him, and he also has some injury trouble. He's not in on every snap, and so it's guys like a Romish that need to step up, and then Camarillo's playing a lot more now, and it's just we need more consistent threats out there, and I think there's some good options in the draft this year. I mean, not even if we get Blackman. There's still other good options. I wouldn't expect us to get Michael Floyd out of Notre Dame, but there's guys in the 3rd round Like Marvin McNutt, I've seen him play because he plays in the Big Ten. He plays for Iowa. He's a tall receiver, a number one type of receiver. He's got speed, athleticism, and quickness, and that's what I want us to bring in. A guy like him.
And McNutt is a beast at NCAA 12, by the way. I just had to throw that in there. But yeah, it would be great. I think you're right. I think you can address wide receiver later on. I think you got to shore up that defense first in the earlier rounds, and then look wide receiver. Give Ponder some options. Yeah, I'm truly cannot wait till the state of Minnesota sports is elevated once again. It seems like maybe I'm a little bit older when I remember the days of the early 90s when we hosted a Super Bowl. We had a Stanley Cup final. We had teams that were relevant, all in that 1 year time frame where everything seemed to be happening. We were the center of the sports world, and very much looking forward to having those kind of situations again here in Minnesota.
And I haven't been alive to see that many, so I'm looking forward to those days. I don't know what they're like yet, so hopefully things pick up soon. And that is probably going to wrap up this commentary. We'll have more to come soon, I'm sure. More state of the Minnesota address and Vikings in general, as that is our main team. And so, thank you guys for watching this dual com, and leave your feedback if you want some more of this. I thank my friend Nadasfan for coming on and doing the dual commentary here at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Never a problem at all. And I also want to say, just make sure to check us both out on Machinima Sports as well if you get the chance.